Howdy.
All right.
You all ready for a big day today?
Yes.
You're ready to go on a big hike.
We are. We're going to have one wonderful time.
If you live in California and own a TV, chances are you know this man.
Hi, I'm Huell Howser. Hi, I'm Huell Howser. Hi, everybody. I'm Huell Howser. Well, hello, everybody. I'm Huell Howser.
For more than 15 years, he's been traveling the highways and the off-roads of the Golden State, bringing you the extraordinary stories of everyday Californians. But how did a reporter from Tennessee become California's best-loved storyteller? That's what we're about to find out.
Well, we're up here on my roof. This is where I live in Los Angeles. There's the skyline of downtown LA right over there. The interesting thing about this picture is that 2.5 hours in that direction is one of the most remote areas of the Mojave Desert. And then you go 2.5 hours in this direction, and you're in the bristlecone forest, which is the oldest living thing on this earth. That's what California is all about. We got it all. I was born and raised in a small town in Tennessee. I had one of those idyllic childhoods, kind of like Leave It to Beaver, kind of a childhood. Good family life, good parents. My parents were married for 53 years. They believed in traveling. They believed in taking us places and showing us that there was a bigger world outside of our small town. We used to go to New York every Christmas and see Broadway plays and ice skate at Rockefeller Center and go to St. Patrick's Cathedral. And all of this left me with this knowledge and this urge to kind of know that someday I was going to leave that small town and go out and see what the rest of the world was all about. I got into local television in Nashville, was a feature reporter on the NBC station there for over 10 years, was picked up by CBS in New York, spent a couple of years in New York at the local station there, then came to the local CBS station here in Los Angeles. And after a while was absolutely consumed by this idea that what California could use would be a program hosted by a guy like me who could travel around this state and uncover all of the wonders of California. This was a dream I had to put together a statewide series about California. And I didn't know exactly how to do it. I certainly didn't know all the cast of characters that I needed to approach to get this on the air. So I took 2 weeks off, got in my car, and started in Eureka and worked my way all the way down California, visiting all 13 PBS affiliates in the state, knocking on the door and saying, "Hi, I'm Huell Howser, and I have this idea about doing a program about California. If I do it, will you air it?" And most of the stations, well, all of the stations kind of humored me and scratched their heads and said, "Sure, if you want to do it, go ahead, we're behind you all the way." And you're definitely invited to come along on this little adventure as we go up and down the state in search of California's gold. In those early days, we were literally starting from scratch. Nobody knew who we were. Our programs just aired once a month. We were kind of feeling our way through this thing. And over here, we have a pig on a spit. Now this thing may not look so hot, but I bet it's going to taste great. But we had kind of an instinctive feeling that if we just went out and with an open mind and an open heart and a microphone and a camera.
Do you do this often, or?
And started asking questions and started nosing around, we were going to uncover this vast treasure, untapped, unmined treasure of California stories. The idea when we started was that this would be a 10-year project that in its totality from 1990 to the year 2000 would chronicle the last decade of the 20th century. Well, that has come and gone. Now our idea is that we want to also chronicle the first decade of the 21st century. We are going somewhere that very few people have ever been, and this is a hint right now we're showing you. Boy, that's a tight...
It's a tight fit.
Look at that. Look at that.
It's great, like I told you it was going to be. That is unbelievable.
Boy, it is windy up here.
This is calm.
What do you mean this is calm?
This isn't even a kite flying day up here. Usually it really blows.
Here we go, over to get a view of the city. I don't think we could have had a prettier day than this.
No, this is a nice day with the clouds and the blue sky and the fog.
You ought to give tours up here.
You'd be able to make a killing, wouldn't you?
Now, I have been noticing since we got up here that I don't know whether we can get over here just a second. I'm looking at the different colors of paint on this cable.
Right.
It looks like they've been painted different colors over the years.
Well, as we were painting the tower, we would get the first section, what we could reach off the swing stage. And the rest of it still has to be painted.
Oh, I got you.
And then you notice on top there's a different color altogether. It's some non-skid paint. When we walk down it, sometimes it's wet, slippery, and that way.
Wait a minute. What do you mean when you walk down it?
Well, we have to come up here and check our rigging like every Monday morning.
So you mean people walk down this cable?
Yeah, and after a while it's almost like walking on the sidewalk with a good view.
You are kidding.
No.
We've done everything from climbing to the top of the Golden Gate Bridge to going down in the 16-to-1 mine in Sierra County with the miners. I think at one point in my life I might have been claustrophobic. That has long since passed from my consciousness. I do things on these shoots that I probably wouldn't do in normal life, but I get so swept up in the show that I forget that I should be nervous about it. Did you have to learn not to be claustrophobic?
Well, not really. I started off when I was really young. There's been a couple times when I've been underground that I got a little claustrophobic, but no, you get used to it.
But this is like a lot more open than I thought it would be.
Yeah, most people say that we bring underground. They go, it's nothing like I pictured. It's a lot different. People get a preconceived notion in their mind, and then they realize it's different underground.
All right, give him the okay. Here we go.
This is the funniest feeling. Is it okay to feel a little anxious now? Because I'm feeling it.
I think so. It's just, well, like the roller coaster rides or anything like that. Only you don't have any way to anticipate because you don't know what's ahead of you.
This is something.
This is what we all like.
What do you mean this is what we all like?
Well, I think the miners, even though sometimes, I guess everybody takes their work for granted, but when you start coming into a place like this and seeing all the crystals and quartz veins and the whole matrix of the geology here, it's pretty humbling, I guess.
Oh,
you could say.
look at this.
Now we have white quartz on both sides of it.
White quartz.
Fire in the hole! Fire in the hole!
Oh my gosh.
Fire in the hole.
So now we've got how long?
Now we've got 3 minutes to walk that way.
No, not walk that way. We are getting out of here.
Come on. Any time, huh?
It's late. Now what happens if we stand here for 10 minutes and it doesn't go off?
Then we wait for an hour. An hour and 45 minutes.
That's how long you wait?
Yeah, in case we have a slow burning fuse or something like that.
Very rarely does that happen.
Very rarely.
Well, I'm going to sit down. Oh! I think the most frightened I ever was, and when I look at it, I can't believe I ever even did it. I certainly probably wouldn't do it again, was when we climbed to the top of a 20-story windmill and stood up there on the top and did an interview up there with the blades going, and each blade is the size of a 747 wing.
And the reason why that safety hook is so important, if you ever needed a safety hook, it's where we are right now. Look at this. We are on top of the turbine, on top of the world.
Almost, we feel almost like being on top of the world, eh?
Wow. Look at this, and this cord holds us in case a big gust of wind comes along.
That's right. Safety is very important up here.
Boy, you get a little lightheaded up here.
Yeah, that's right. So
Wait a minute, what's that noise?
it's basically the blades pitching right now. The blades are pitching. We are not exactly in the right wind direction right now, so the blade would like actually to speed up, but we disabled the machine
Look
so it
at
doesn't
this.
start up.
I don't know whether we can even show the whole blade.
So
This is an amazing blade. How
yeah.
big is this thing?
every blade is 100 feet long and weighs 12,000 pounds, every blade.
Look at this blade over here. Now they're beginning to actually move now. The wind
Yeah.
is picking up.
Now it's just pitch. Actually, we are not pointing into the right wind direction. We disabled the yaw, so she's not pointing into the wind, but we will do that afterwards.
I hate to tell you, I'm beginning to get a little, this is kind of weird standing up here.
Yeah, you lose your perspective and everything moves.
Wow. Where are you supposed to look so that you don't get vertigo up here?
Yeah, the nacelle is a good point. The
Maybe you
enclosure.
should just close your eyes.
I do remember at the time, for a moment, thinking, why are you doing this? And certainly when you look back on it, that question is still in my mind, but it made a good show.
Oh, look at this shot, Cameron. Look up here.
Physically most arduous are when we're doing like nature type of stuff. You know, I'm walking over rocks and ditches and creeks and up hills, and he just keeps going, and I'm just trying to chase him with the camera and do my best not to trip and fall into a hole or, you know, wind up, you know, flat on my backside from tripping over a log or something.
Is that totally?
We operate on the premise that TV ain't brain surgery, that the stories, that's what it's all about. And if you have a good story, it doesn't have to be overproduced. It doesn't have to be overlit. There doesn't have to be makeup and wardrobe and limousines and dressing rooms and all of this Hollywood stuff. It's as simple as just going there and asking the questions and reporting the story.
The most incredible show that I can recall, one of the recent ones, we were in Death Valley this past spring where they had this 100-year incredible rainfall with the wildflowers that were just everywhere you could see. And we actually had the opportunity to go kayaking in Death Valley in the lowest spot in the continental U.S.
History is being made.
This is amazing.
And I bet this even gets you excited, doesn't it? An old
it
hand at
does.
this.
15 years here, and it's only the second time I've ever been on this water. It is amazing.
Wow. And you know, when you're out here, this lake looks so big.
Oh, it's an optical illusion. It looks like it goes as far as you can see in the distance to the north because it's so low, so level out here.
Let's cut around just a little bit. How deep is this lake?
Probably at the deepest point, 2.5, maybe 3 feet.
What are all these specks on the top of the water?
It's actually salt, Huell. We're seeing salt particles coming up to the top.
Really, just pure salt?
Pure salt.
You know, you get the sense that you're on an ancient lake when you're out here, don't you?
You do. I mean, if you know what to look for, you can even see the shorelines up high on the ridges, up to 600 feet high, where that old lake stayed for maybe thousands of years at a time before the water started lowering.
And isn't it interesting how things have a way of coming back?
Oh, it is. And what if it stays wet? What if year after year it gets wetter in Death Valley? Who knows? Maybe sometime within our lifetime we'll see a permanent lake. I wouldn't bet any money on that.
Well, you don't know. This could be the beginning of a whole new weather cycle.
It could be. We don't know. That's the fascinating thing about the weather. I mean, we try to predict it, but we really don't know.
Well, let's just sit here for a minute and take it all in, because this is absolutely spectacular. This is one of those moments, one of those times and places that you'll carry with you and remember for your whole life. Out here in the middle of this amazing lake in Death Valley.
We've done literally hundreds of programs so far. I remember each one of them as if they happened yesterday. I remember every detail of every show, but it's very, very hard to rate them, to rank them, to set one against the other, because each one really is unique. It's like asking you to choose which one of your children you love the most.
Look at this, we're finding clams. That you could find them with your feet.
Yeah.
People used to look for them with their feet.
If they didn't have any type of implement with them,
But
that's
how
what
could
they
your
do.
feet get...
They just down here.
Wait a minute.
Oh, get out of
It's a
here!
clam.
Come on.
Look, what is that?
It's a clam.
Let's get it out of here. Look at this. I found one with my feet. Look at this.
Good find.
The heck with those forks.
Maybe we better
Just
check
gotta
your
go
fishing
around.
license though.
We don't have a license.
We don't, do we?
I'm
Well,
supposed to have a license, aren't I?
that was just an incidental find then, wasn't it?
Look at this.
Lots of times people will say, how do you find all these places? And I try to be polite and just say, you know, all you have to do is just open your eyes. They're all around you. These are, even though they're kind of obscure, they're there for everybody to discover. We don't go to places that anybody can't go to. I mean, they're all open to the public. They're all accessible. You just have to open your eyes and have a sense of adventure and go out and find them for yourself.
There it was in all its mysterious majesty, the St. George's Reef Lighthouse. Problem was, how do you get on this thing? Well, the Coast Guard had the answer. We were lowered one at a time in a wire basket. Definitely one of life's experiences I'll never forget.
People will come up and say things like, I can't believe my wife and I sat and watched a whole 30-minute program you did about kelp. Because when it started, we turned to each other and said, there is no way that he can make this subject interesting. My premise is, and I consider that a compliment, because we love the idea that if you, and I'm convinced that if you put a spotlight on any person or any subject and you're genuinely interested in it, you can make it interesting and something that people enjoy watching.
In terms of comparing them to the other seaweeds, they tend to be the biggest and the most complex, and they also have a really interesting life history.
Now, what do you mean life history?
Well, the sex life of the kelps. The plant that you see, the giant kelp, is just one stage of a really interesting life history. And the other stage includes tiny microscopic male and female plants. The females make eggs, the males make sperm, the sperm drift over and fertilize the eggs, and then the product of that union grows up to be this big giant kelp.
It's pretty neat. I never thought I'd get this excited about kelp.
Now, a kelp forest is not only beautiful, it's also commercially extremely valuable. Kelp is a California crop.
Why California?
It has an interesting history. Back at the turn of the century, the United States used to get all of its potash from Germany. And of course, with the hostilities in Europe and the onset of World War I, we needed to find a new source of potash, and you can get potash for kelp. That's for fertilizer and explosives.
Do you think kelp is underappreciated?
Well, since it pays my mortgage and feeds my little girl, I very much appreciate it.
No, I mean really. I mean this is a serious question. Because a lot of people might look at this whole subject area as rather frivolous and not very important. But
Possibly. You go to your average citizen and ask them, what's kelp used in? They might know about it, and usually the number one answer is ice cream. And that's what most people think, oh, kelp's in ice cream. And you could probably do without kelp and ice cream. But you would be amazed how many other products it actually is used in, that we use on a daily basis. You probably come in contact with something that has algin or a kelp product in it literally 20, 30 times a day.
I love it when people come up to me and say, you know, we love watching your show, but we find it so interesting that a person with an accent like yours is hosting a program about California. I love it when they say that because it allows me to say back to them, okay, what kind of an accent should the host of California's Gold have? And they'll say, well, you shouldn't have any accent because there's no accent in California. Or you should have a valley accent or a beach accent. And then I say, well, what about having a Vietnamese accent?
We know that sooner or later we have to leave this camp for our new life. So we want to have something for memory.
more Vietnamese live in Orange County than any place outside of Vietnam itself. Or what about a Cambodian accent? Now, are these from Cambodia, or are these Cambodians who are making CDs here in the United States?
This one, the Cambodian make in United States, and some from Cambodia too.
Really?
Yeah.
More Cambodians live in Long Beach than any place outside of Cambodia. What about a Filipino accent, a Mexican accent, an Irish accent, an Italian accent? I dare say there are more Tennesseans living in California than any place outside of Tennessee. The point being that California never has had and never will have one accent. There is no California accent because from the very beginning, we have always been a place that has brought people from not only all over this country, but from all over this world in search of the California dream. It's still alive today, and it's still bringing people here. I think California's gold appeals to new people, newcomers to California, because they're learning about their new state, their new home. It also has an appeal for older people, people who were born and raised in California, because it reminds them of things they did in the past, of places they visited. For example, the Yosemite Firefall, which was a California classic that generations of people, visited and saw, which stopped. So you've got generations of people who love seeing the Firefall on one of our programs because it reminded them of their youth and of wonderful memories from their, days growing up in California. How many people have seen the Firefall? You're kidding. You're kidding. When?
1954.
You were here in 1954.
Yes.
You saw it.
Yes.
Was it as wonderful as everybody?
Yes, and everyone waited down below until it came down, and it was beautiful.
Could you hear them yelling back and forth?
Oh, yeah. Yes.
You saw it.
Yelled many times, "Let the fire falls."
But you do it pretty well.
Oh, it was a fun night.
How did they do that again?
Lord, I hear your the fire fall.
Great suspense. And then there'd be a response.
The fire is falling.
This is where it happened, right here. This is where you would push it right off.
Right between those two rocks over there. You see that nice smooth flat area?
Right there. Right off here.
That's right.
And Camp Curry would be
right down there.
Right below us.
And you could hear the clapping from the meadows and all around the valley afterwards. It was, I get very emotional even thinking about it now.
I get emotional hearing you talk about it.
It was a very emotional experience. And a lot of people would actually cry.
I think the wonder of California, the beauty of California, the lesson of California is that it has taken in someone like me who, when I came here in 1981, didn't know a single person in this state, didn't know where Chino or Chico or Redding or El Cajon, I didn't know where any of these places were. It has taken a guy like me from Tennessee with an accent like mine and made me a Californian, a full-fledged Californian, not a part of a Californian, not a tentative Californian, but a Californian that has been fully embraced. Over the years, I can't tell you the number of days we get through shooting all day and we're in the car and we're heading home through different parts of California, and it's getting about sunset, and we'll just pull over to the side of the road and stand out by the car and look out over the scenic view and watch the sunset and just quietly kind of take a deep breath and realize what a wonderful life this has been and is, and how wonderful it is that I've been able to do something for a living that gives me this much personal satisfaction. I'm never going to retire. I have this vision of someday standing there and ending one of the programs by saying, I'm Huell Howser, and I want to thank everybody for joining me on this adventure, and I'll see you next time as we continue our search together for California's gold. And then I'm just going to fall over dead in a sand dune right there, and the credits, the camera will keep rolling, and the credits will be the sand blowing over my dead body, and people at home will turn to each other and go, well, I guess that's Huell's last show.
To order a DVD copy of this program, call 888-814-3923 or visit kvie.org/viewfinder.